Folks, welcome in to sportsbookreview.com. It's Monday and time to talk some Major League Baseball. Hope your weekend was profitable. We got a lot of work to put in today. 9 games on the card. You know how we do it. 30 minutes or less, get you in and out, and certainly get you the information that you need to be a better baseball bettor. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz, along with Purviance. Monday, back in the saddle, Jason. What are you thinking here? Let's do it.
Yeah, the Mets, their entire lineup is missing now. They're all in the IL. So, now I can kind of just watch my bets and not worry about the Mets because, if you're betting the Mets right now, you're going to be in trouble.
Bets and the Mets. Kyle, welcome in back on Monday here. New week, new money, as we like to say. Every time I get to talk Major League Baseball, I mean, this show just flies by, and it's one of the few things where you're putting in time, you're putting in work. I don't feel like doing it. Every time I look at the Major League Baseball card and go like team by team, pitcher by pitcher, try to find some odds and, looking through different books. It's great stuff, man. Back again on a Monday. How you feeling?
I'm loving it. The pep is back in my step, and I'm glad they mentioned the music before the show in the chat box. I just heard it for the first time, and you're right. That's music to make picks by. That's music to make babies by. I love the whole vibe. I'm ready to rock and roll. It's going to be a good week, and I hope everyone in the chat box had a wonderful weekend, as well as you two gentlemen.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, obviously we don't do shows on Saturday or Sunday. Had a nice winner on Saturday, and also Sunday bailed out in the 9th inning by a 2-run blast for San Francisco. But as I say, bailed out by that, when you go 1 for 9 up to the 9th inning with runners in scoring position, I don't know how much bailing out we're doing in that game. So I deserve the winner in that one. But hey, sometimes you get a push and you keep it moving. So as we say, we love to give information on the show, but follow each and every one of us right here on Twitter. When we go with something on the weekend, we go with something that doesn't make sense or later that wasn't added on the show. We're going to put that out there on Twitter and certainly keep the fun going. 85,900 people have hit the subscribe button here at sportsbookreview.com. So close to 86,000 on our charge towards 100,000 subscribers. Thank you guys for doing that. If you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button. Turn your notification bell on, because when we talk Major League Baseball Monday through Friday, you get it delivered, and you can come in here into the chat box and say hello. Chat box already popping as is. Let's not waste any more time here. And yes, let's get to those Mets for Jason. 953, 954. Taijuan Walker, Max Fried on the mound. Shouldn't say slight favorite. Opened as a slight favorite of -134 here in New Jersey. Up to 162. Offshore Pinnacle, 148. Taijuan Walker has been really good for the New York Mets. Max Fried struggled, went on the IL, came back. Looks like a pretty good pitcher over the last 2 games here. If I'm looking from a team total perspective, for me, not a lot to like in this game. If there's one thing looking here, Jason, maybe it's Taijuan Walker's xFIP to left-handed batters is a little bit high around that 5 range. But outside of that, he's been good.
Yeah, and the Braves really don't have many lefties outside of really Freddie Freeman. I think Ozzie Albies are really the only 2 lefties in that lineup for the most part. So you're looking at this game, again, the Mets, their offense is going to be limited right now. I wouldn't really count on that. And Fried has looked a lot better since coming back from injury. And then you have, on the other hand, so look, both teams are probably going to struggle offensively. I don't get the under 4.5 in the first 5. In this spot, Fried's look good, Walker's look good. Not too many lefties in the Braves lineup. So again, under 4.5 in the first 5, probably the best bet here.
Yeah, loading up on right-handed batters. If you look from a season totality here, Kyle, 4.29 weighted on base average for Max Fried. He is a lefty to righty batters. But the question comes in, can the Mets do some damage against that? This is a game that's not really on my board, but a marquee matchup here in the NL East. What are you looking at from your perspective between these two?
Yeah, I sort of agree with you guys. It's a little tough here. And luckily, look, we know the Mets are going to be down a few lefties. Lindor's playing, right? Or did I say something? Yeah, yep. So Lindor should be in there. So I have a slight lean to the Mets here. I think Walker's been really good, and you guys touched on it. Only a couple of lefties that you're really worried about in this Braves lineup. Albies the switch hitter, of course, and Freeman. So I've got a slight lean here. This would be, we're going to get to this a little late, maybe like a value menu wager here. Just a slight little lean to the money line on the Mets in the first 5 at +140. I just like Walker a whole lot better than Fried. And again, it's not the righties for the Mets. It's not like they have a bunch of dynamic righties, of course, outside of Lindor, but it's those lefties, McNeil and Conforto, who are out. So they should be all right here. I'm going to do, I also like that under 4.5 by Jason in the first 5, but I'll do a slight lean here to the Mets first 5 +140.
Nate Bernatchez, dealing with asthma myself, pollen and dust don't mix. The pollen has been annihilating me this spring, even more than what I remember from last year. So shout out to the people that walk their dogs and even go outside and choke for the next 30 minutes. That is me, certainly. So, yes, I do agree. If we're looking at Max Fried from a home perspective here, he has struggled at home. High XFIP at home, high weighted on base average at home, but a lot of that doing with battling injuries where he went to the IL, came back, has looked pretty firm. So, interesting game here in the NL East. We'll see how that plays out a little bit later, but let's keep moving. Another team from the NL East in play. How about John Lester back to Chicago? 955, 956 Lester versus Azolay. If we take a look at the over-under in this game, sitting at 8 across the board, which is usually rare for a game at Wrigley, but the wind blowing in. If we take a look at favorites here, Pinnacle opened up Azolay minus 125, shot up to 149. Same thing here in New Jersey at FanDuel, a 164 as a favorite to the Chicago Cubs. Now, if we take a look at this, there are no road starts on the season for Lester, but we do know he's probably pretty familiar with the friendly confines of Wrigley Field. Alzolay's been a solid start at home as well. Not looking at these two lineups should be able to hit, but the pitchers have been solid here. We'll see if it continues tonight in the seat of Chicago. Jason, we'll start with you first. Any looks on a total or a favorite being the Cubs here in this game?
Yeah, I do like the Cubs against lefties, especially against lefties that really haven't shown much recently. Of course, Lester's been pretty good this year, but he's also kind of got out of damage. Could have been worse, for the most part. His xFIP 4.68 from Fangraphs. So there's room for Lester to kind of regress just a little bit. And then you also have Alzolay pitching. He's going to be a high strikeout guy, but he also allows some power to left-handers. And you have Schwarber, Soto, Bell. I would think at least one of those guys can get a home run against him. I just think that the Cubs probably score a little bit more. They're going to have a solid amount of righties in the lineup, probably around 6 righties. And, of course, Chris Bryant has been a stud against lefties this season. So I think I'd go with the Cubs minus 0.5 in the first 5 if I'm looking at this game. And I agree with the over, but also, we're in Wrigley Field, so I would stay away from there. And but, again, I do think both teams can definitely score some runs in this one.
It's an interesting one to look at, and I'm going to start with you on this one, Kyle, because we take a look at John Lester going back to Chicago here. This is the ultimate dichotomy of when we look at a pitcher and what makes the most sense for us. Hasn't had any road starts yet this year, but obviously familiar with being in Chicago. xFIP on the season, 555, which is extremely high. What does that mean? It's not striking out guys, walking too many guys, and too many fly balls. But when you take a look at what the batters are able to take advantage of for lefties, 243 weighted on base average is terrible. Righties, 312. He's getting the job done, but are we seeing some smoke and mirrors here with John Lester, Kyle?
I think that we are. And listen, Vitalis said it beautifully. We don't bet the Cubs here on this show, but this will be one of the nights where I do like the Cubs. I like them full game. I like them half game. I just prefer my boy Alizé, and that's what I'll call him till the end of time. I just prefer him over Lester. Lester should struggle with those righties. Rizzo, Baez, Bryant, all of those guys are in a nice position today. They have nice advantages. I don't mind the Cubs lineup in DFS. And I also don't mind Alzolay is actually a pretty decent price today on DraftKings and FanDuel, only $6,800 on FanDuel. I think there's some value there. So I'm going to roll with the Cubs, first 5, full game. I think they should get it done here. I just like their advantages just a little bit more against Lester today.
Yeah, we'll be coming up on some picks in just a few moments. I got 3 really good spots tonight, which we're going to hit on. We'll have some fun on the show today. But let's keep going and talk about some of these marquee games on the menu. D-backs and Dodgers tonight. If we take a look on the mound, Bumgarner, the lefty, versus the righty, Walker Buehler, a minus 206 offshore, sitting at Pinnacle in FanDuel out of New Jersey, 215. Bet Chris offshore, 210. Bet 365, New Jersey, 220. So a heavy favorite here. Bumgarner's been snapping back into shape here, and lefties versus the Dodgers gives them some issues. Just trying to find some quick notes on this game. There wasn't much I had between either one. Don't really love the Dodgers lineup. A couple more guys getting banged up there. Don't love the Diamondbacks lineup going up against Walker Buehler, specifically in a pitcher's ballpark. Jason, we'll start with you first. There's a reason why this game is at a 7.
Yeah. So I posted on Twitter. I had a big 5 underdog, first 5 underdog tonight. And I asked on Twitter what everyone thought who I'd be on. 43% said Diamondbacks plus 185 in the first 5. And 43% of those people were all correct. I'm on the Diamondbacks plus 185 in the first 5. So our followers, our viewers, they're just sharps, just like us. They are, they do their homework. They're really good at what they do. So appreciate all of you guys. You were right on the money. The Diamondbacks at plus 185 in the first 5. But as Donnie said, Bumgarner, he's been terrific so far. He's been really good. And, Kyle and I, we always talk about this. The Dodgers, they struggle versus lefties. And Bumgarner, he's looked really good. Now you get Seager out of the lineup for the Dodgers, and things just don't look too good outside of maybe Turner and really Taylor for the Dodgers. And the Diamondbacks, they got some lefties in the lineup that can do damage against Buehler. Buehler's allowed a ton of home runs for, I think 4 or 5 in his last 3 starts that he's allowed. And most of them have been against lefties. Again, you look at the top of the lineup, you got like Peralta, Escobar. There's options there that could hit homers, extra base hits for lefties, even Rojas there as well in that lineup for the Arizona Diamondbacks. So I think we'll get like a 2-1 game, 2-0 game. Diamondbacks will win this one, plus 185 in the first 5.
It's an interesting one because if you're looking at, and I always use eligible batters in the National League, I take the pictures out, so you have 16 batters. You couldn't pick maybe 10 out of the 16 out of a lineup between these two clubs in the anticipated lineups, which is really interesting. So talk to me about this, Kyle. 7 is always a low number. 3-3 game, you're automatically going to cash that ticket, or at least, get it to extra innings with a chance to run away with this one. But then you look at a heavy favorite from the Dodgers' perspective. Is it warranted?
Yeah, I think it is. And listen, Jason touched on it. The Dodgers just simply don't hit lefties. And then who are you afraid of in this Arizona lineup against Buehler? So this could be a sneaky nerfy spot. We'll get to that value menu wager here next. And I got to say, I love the chat box. When you're watching our show, it's worthwhile to watch that chat box. We have some really, really smart people in here with fantastic stats. Vittel is the beautiful stat here. Buehler has not won a first 5, 0-4-3 this year, which I think is really, really interesting. Dodgers really struggle against lefties. Even if Betts is in the lineup, that's basically his kryptonite. He's twice as good against righties as he is against lefties. I think this could be a sneaky nerfy spot. I'm too much of a coward to bet the under 7 when the Dodgers are involved. That's just me. I'm a chicken there. But I do think it makes a lot of sense. And you can get that under 3.5 in the first 5 as well at minus 120. I just don't see a ton of runs here. Like that nerfy in the first inning, have zero interest in either lineup in DFS today. So I'm leaning unders here. It's a slight lean to the unders. Again, I'm too much of a coward to bet that with my own money. But I do think you could take a peek at a nerfy here.
All right, let's keep it moving here. And as always, a very popular option here, the value menu of wagers. And even though we only have 9 games tonight, there's some really good ones to pick on. I have 2 value menu wagers tonight. I'm also going to have a best bet and banker here in just a few moments. So I'm going to start with you first here, Jason. We'll go from your perspective. Value on the menu tonight. Where is it at?
Well, some people ask for player props. Looking at Sonny Gray, over 6.5 strikeouts at minus 130. That's a really good look there. The Giants, they struggle. They strike out a ton. And obviously, Donnie and I will tell you, we never know who's going to be in the lineup for the Giants because Bell keeps taken out. Crawford was out a couple of times here. But you look at this Giants lineup, and I'm pulling it up right now. That entire lineup, they strike out a ton. The projected lineup would be 26.2% against righties, and Sonny Gray striking out 32% of batters. 6.5, that's all Gray needs, 6.5. You also, of course, have the pitcher as one of the guys as well that will strike out maybe once or twice in the lineup as well. So 6.5 at minus 130 for the K's for Sonny Gray. Get that early wager in, and you could, just go to bed afterward and not have to worry about it after that.
Yep. Looks like I'm going to have a late night tonight with a couple of my wagers here. Kyle, we'll go with you here. Value on the menu from your perspective. Where is it at? What should people be betting on it?
So I got a few value picks here. So one, we like to do the home run props here, right? I love Tim Anderson, and we're going to get to this White Sox game more when we go over our best bets and bankers. Here's Tim Anderson's career against J.A. Happ. 11 of 19, 1 triple, 2 home runs. I think he goes yard tonight. I love that White Sox lineup. I saw the question in the chat box. Who do you like in DFS stacks? The White Sox against lefties. It's a no-brainer. Now, they did burn us on Saturday, and the wheels sort of came off that train. But we just saw what this lineup did last week to Happ. I expect it to happen again. Love that Tim Anderson home run prop. I like the no-run first inning in that Dodgers-Arizona game. A little sprinkle on that for some McNuggets tonight. And one more just to make Jason happy. Team total over 3.5 for the Mets here, minus 120. I'll take a little sprinkle on that too. I think they hit free tonight, minus 115, excuse me. I'll take that Mets team total as well.
Yep, and I'll be jumping on that Mets team total in the 5th inning when they haven't scored yet, and it's a 1. So that's where my value is going to be. No, I'm just busting balls on that one.
It's true, though. No, it's true. Yeah,
it's so damn true. It does seem to feel like that. If we're taking a look at some value perspective from my menu, Early game that's going to start today. I like the Cincinnati Reds. 2 numbers I'll give you here. Cincinnati 3.5 team total -140, sitting at BetMGM. 4 at FanDuel -110. If you don't want to buy it down, this is really simple to me because you're talking about Webb on the mound, who is a righty. He is really getting peppered this year, and I'm going to bring up some statistics that make sense because also it's a lot different when you're going to Great American Ballpark, and when you usually pitch at home at an Oracle out in San Francisco. Check out these splits he has. To lefties, a 423 weighted on base average on the season. But let's take a look at where this really factors in. Take a look at his home starts this year. Weighted on base average to both lefties and righties, a 292, which is sensational. Take a look at when he goes on the road. Jumps to 379. Everybody just, wasting away at this guy. Then we also take a look at some xFIP numbers here. Totals, 2021 at home, he's at a 280. On the road, he goes to 356. So here's what you're trying to play off of. Pitching in a big ballpark out there in San Francisco, going to more of a hitter's ballpark. But then if we slide it over and take a look at what the Reds really do well versus righties, take a look at Naquin, the lefty, 366 weighted on base average. Winker, the lefty, 468. Castellanos, 409. Moustakas, 350. Barnhart, 350. Even India batting in the 8-hole, 328, which is average. A lot of elevated ISO power numbers as well. I think that's worth the play if you want to buy it down to the 3.5, or if you want to take the 4. I think those are some pretty good options. Also, the second one here, the Yankees are going to have a party tonight down in Texas. If that roof is open versus Jordan Lyles, take a look at these numbers on the season. To lefties, 369 weighted on base average. To righties, 392. And then if we take a look at his home and away splits, he's had 27 innings he's pitched on the road, a 302 weighted on base average, which is very good. Take a look at him now at home, 535 weighted on base average. If that roof is open, the humidity is getting in there, Yankees get a full 9 at-bats, they should be able to get to their 5, which is -115 at FanDuel. Those are my value plays. Now, let's get to some best bets and bankers. Jason, will lead off with you as well.
Yeah, so like I said, I'm going to be on the Diamondbacks, +185, first 5. Got that through William Hill. I'm not sure what it's at now or what everything else is at now, but really anything from like +160 and above, I see that as value with Bumgarner on the mound versus Buehler. Again, Buehler's allowed tons of home runs to the lefties, and there's enough lefties in the lineup for the Diamondbacks where I do think that one of them can connect. Then we're going to go to the Rockies versus Padres game. I'm taking the under 3.5 in the first 5 at -115. We've got John Gray against Yu Darvish in this game. Of course, the Padres still, they've got guys out with COVID protocol. So really, their lineup is just going to be like Grisham, Cronenworth, Caratini, and that's basically the entire lineup there in terms of consistency. And of course, Darvish has been terrific throughout. He's maybe lefties have a 177 ISO, but I really wouldn't be too worried outside of maybe Ryan McMahon for the Rockies, and also Gray going for the Rockies, and he's been struggling just a bit against lefties. 307 weighted OBA and an ISO of 167, but he gets a ton of ground balls, high strikeouts, 55% of ground balls to be exact. So yeah, I like this game. I think it's under 3.5. The Padres, their offense has been a little bit better recently, but I think that's going to start to regress just a little bit. These guys have kind of been overperforming a little bit, and John Gray has been pretty good, quality outings. And also, lastly, these two just pitched against each other last time out. I think there were 4 unearned runs between both these pitchers, so don't expect that to happen again. And under 3.5 in the first 5 at -115 is an official play for me.
There you go. Let's get after it, Kyle. What are we looking at tonight for your best bets and bankers?
Well, I must be missing something here because, look, I know the wheels came off the bus this weekend. The White Sox finally lost to a lefty, but did we miss what they did to J.A. Happ last week? I mean, they absolutely stomped on this guy. They've been stomping on lefties. They're the number 1 team in baseball in terms of batting average against lefties. They're the number 1 team in baseball in first 5. They're the hottest team in baseball right now. I'm looking at White Sox -0.5 at +120 over here on my bookie. I'm getting plus money on the White Sox versus a lefty. Sign me up. I'm going back to the well. I think they get it done today against Happ. And staying in that same game, the White Sox team total over 4.5 -120. I will take that as well. I expect them to hit early and often. I expect them to stomp on the Twins tonight, who have somehow found themselves being the worst team in baseball almost, right, sitting right down there with the Tigers. Give me that White Sox plus money in the first 5. No-brainer for me.
All right, we'll keep it moving here. I'm going to go ahead with a best bet and banker tonight on the West Coast. And how about this? We're going to get a low number here. The Cleveland Indians, BetMGM flashing at 3.5, minus 150. If you don't want to pay it down to the 3.5, you can get the 4 at minus 122. That's sitting at FanDuel. Here's the reason. Now, it's not a great lineup when you take a look at the Cleveland Indians batters, but just about every single one of them will be coming from the right-hand side tonight. At least 7 out of the 9 batters, maybe 8, maybe if they make any changes, up to 9 for 9 from that side. When you take a look at Sandoval, he's done very well against left-handed batters. If we look on the season, it's very limited this year, but he also has the same profile from last year as well. 268 weighted on base average where it's lefty on lefty. You know what it switches up to righties this year? 443. So if we're looking at a 443 weighted on base average, 412 ISO power, not striking out a lot of guys and walking too many, I think the right-handed batters with a full 9 at-bats out there in Los Angeles should be fine. And also, you need a running mate sometimes when you take a look at these team totals. The Angels should be able to hit the Cleveland pitching as well tonight. That's the way I'm going with this one. So best bet in banker. I'm also got a couple value plays out here. Let's spin it around, folks, to the rest of the card in the odds lightning round and get some thoughts here. I'm going to come to you first, Jason. San Francisco, Cincinnati, right off the bat, 640 here. I love the fact. I think Cincinnati only might get 8 at-bats in this game, but they should be able to hit Webb, stack some lefties and righties, get that nice even split, 4 and 4 on each side. Over-under is 8. I think there's a legitimate shot they could possibly get it, but I like the Cincinnati bats better than San Francisco's bats.
Yeah, you hit it on the nail already. The Reds over 3.5 team total. I did say Sonny Gray over 6.5 strikeouts. I think this is a Reds game. I think Sonny Gray has a good outing versus the Giants. And it seems like the Giants should be scoring more than they are right now, especially on the road. So not really too high on the Giants right now. Donnie and I both kind of saw it throughout the last week. They didn't score as much as we expected against the Pirates, for example. So I do like the Reds in the spot at home against the Giants. Sonny Gray should do well, and the Reds, they have some nice splits from the left side that they should be able to exploit against Webb.
Runners in scoring position, Jason. That's always what we talk about in San Francisco. They'll get them there. Maybe they just can't drive them in because the strikeouts do pop up their ugly head. But also, let's get to the next game here on the card. Chicago White Sox, Minnesota Twins. I heard you talking about this already, Kyle. Taking a look at some updated numbers. Minus 110 either side. 9.5s across the board, which rose up from 8.5s. So we're expecting some runs tonight between Keiko and Happ. But I hasten to say that I usually can't stand J.A. Happ on the mound. The weighted on base average for righties that he pitches to, 333. Lefties, 141. But here's the split that makes the most sense here. 17.1 innings pitched at home this year, a 1.56 ERA, and a 212 weighted on base average. When he goes on the road, it elevates to 7.53s in ERA and a 381 weighted on base average. Happ is home tonight. Still going with those White Sox. All right, hear it. Let me hear it.
Listen, I don't care if J.A. Happ is pitching in his mansion in heaven, okay, and everything's supposed to go his way. This White Sox lineup is set up to smash him just like they did last week. Here's the advantages here. All 9 batters, 88, 21, 71, 49, 64, 63, 28, 51, and 64 in terms of weighted 3-year OPS against this lineup. I expect, now, listen, every time I get this diehard about something and this indignant about something, things do tend to fall off the rails, so I will warn people on that. But if they do what the numbers dictate here, I expect the White Sox to get the job done. I like them across the board. I think the number is too short, and I think they hit their team total as well.
Too short. One of Kyle's favorite rappers growing up, but hey, that's
right.
Another show at this point here. Cole versus Lyles.
And the title and the book title of my love life. It's a book of short stories. Too short. Every single chapter. There we go.
Always around. Too short. The Yankees and the Texas Rangers here. Cole versus Lyles. Jason, there's not a lot to love in this game if you are a Texas perspective, except getting maybe a plus 235 and shutting the TV off, go walking your dog for 3.5 hours and coming back to see if you won this bet. Cole has been sensational. Lyles has been terrible. Are we just hoping that the Yankees don't hit in this one? Like, what would be an advantage if you even wanted to go with Texas in this range, in this spot?
Yeah, so Stan now out with a quad injury, so that stings a little bit. He was one of the guys that's been hitting righties well, and Lyles, of course, has struggled versus righties. So him being out of the lineup probably helps the line just a bit. I'm not sure if it's moved. Probably not. I'm sure it's the Yankees. But, yeah, you still have Judge, Urshela, Voit, Frazier. I mean, the list goes on. There's so many righties in the lineup that can do damage against Lyles, who's bad against righties as a right-handed pitcher. So I still like the Yankees here. Obviously, Garrett Cole has been terrific. Strikeout numbers are ridiculous. Walk numbers really, really, really low. So everything points to the Yankees in this spot. Of course, the Yankees will get 9 at-bats as well. So you can look at the over on the team total. It's a high number, but should get there, of course. And do think that Cole gets over on his strikeouts and probably goes deep 7-8 innings, if not 9, because we've seen him go 100-plus pitches so far this season a couple of times already. So everything Yankees here. I wouldn't go look at the Rangers at all.
I know it hurts because I'm going to take the Yankees pre-game when I know I could probably get a better number in-game. But it is, hey, look, we can't just be saying, hey, follow me, I'll play it in-game and later. Like, we got to have some picks that are viable for the show. I do think the Yankees get the 6 runs, though, however, and cash that in. Kyle, 965, 966, 938 tonight. Cleveland and the Los Angeles Angels, lefty on lefty, but 2 lefties leave a lot to be desired. No reason to believe that this game opened up at 9, now sits at 9.5. I think the odds makers and also the people betting the game believe there might be more runs than not in this one. But looking at it from both sides in that perspective, flying in, the Angels coming from East Coast to West Coast now, 154 is a favorite. Quick thoughts on this one.
Yeah, and it's funny. I see people talking about Ice Cube, and you mentioned Too Short. I actually meant them both at the same club, Club Flux in San Diego, on the same night. Ice Cube wrapped about 10 feet from me. It was a majestic night, took shots with Too Short. It was amazing. Anyways, I digress.
But wait, the Lakers beat the Supersonics that night?
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Well, they always did. Hashtag bring back the Supersonics. Screw the Orlando Magic and their bullshit. Bring back the Supersonics. But in this game, I'll make it short and sweet. I prefer the righties for the Angels than I do the righties for the Indians here. I think Trout, Rendon, and company get it done tonight. So I got a slight lean here, minus 0.5 at minus 110 in the first 5. I'll go with the Angels in this one.
There you go. About 325 people watching live here on the show. Thank you guys for that. All the thumbs up, all the love you guys give us. SBRpicks.com/MLB. If you need any more than what us 3 are giving you today, and I'm all amped up and ready because I've got more TVs at my disposal, more fun at my disposal. So just need some dubs tonight on the card. 2 games left. Colorado, San Diego, Gray, Darvish. Minus 225s, minus 220s across the board, and every time I see this, I know I like Gray as a pitcher. I do like Darvish as a pitcher. Not the greatest lineups on either side anticipated coming into tonight, but a damn 6.5. Jason, 6.5. Talk to me.
Yeah, I'm taking the under 3.5 in the first 5. I'm in on it. The Padres, again, they are without half of their lineup. And they have Yu Darvish on the mound, who's been really consistent this year, usually about 1 run per game. And he'll go against the Rockies. They just pitched against, allowed 1 run, but it was an unearned run. So that helps. And, of course, Gray's been a lot better this year as well. A ground ball pitcher. He's been really good. And, again, that Padres lineup, really not much there outside of really the normal guys like Grisham and Cronenworth. And outside that, you have a bunch of lefties that really struggled so far in their small little sample sizes. So, yeah, I do like the under 3.5 in the first 5. It's minus 115. You can go for that 4 at like minus 160-ish if you want to play it safe that way. But we're going to go for it. Scary money doesn't make money, so we're on the under 3.5 in the first 5.
Right, and perfect segue into Kyle. Not a big enough sample size, so go ahead with Detroit and Seattle. Mize versus Kikuchi here, Kyle. Go ahead.
Hey, I'm telling you right now, the Detroit Tigers are a sneaky underdog tonight. Now, I know this team stinks, okay? But I actually like how Mize looks against the Seattle lineup tonight. I'm only seeing 1, 2, 3 advantages here. He's actually been pretty solid. One of the brighter spots, I would say, for the Tigers, especially pitching this year. And the risk with taking the Tigers is, of course, it's the worst bullpen in baseball. So there's always that concern. So if you want to take him in the first 5 innings, I think that makes a ton of sense. And Kikuchi's been good. But look, if I'm just going over this lineup here, we've got advantages for Detroit: 58, 17, 49, 31, 31, and 3. I'm not betting my mortgage on this or anything, but if I'm looking for some underdog spots today, Jason touched on Arizona. I think that's a live dog, and I think Detroit is a live dog. Is Seattle that scary of a favorite? I don't think so. So I've got a little light sprinkle here on the Tigers' first 5 innings.
It's an interesting one because you're going to have a couple lefties from Seattle, and they should be able to hit Mize. Lefties on the season versus Mize, 359 weighted on base average, but that actually decreases overall on the road. Home, 349 weighted on base average. When he goes on the road, to 308. I think we can all agree that Seattle is not really a great hitting environment, more of a pitcher's ballpark. So we'll see if that comes to play. But Kelenic will be a lefty, Seager will be a lefty, Crawford, Marmolejos, and Haggerty. So we'll see if that winds up. Not a great game, but we are gamblers. It's 10 o'clock, and if you didn't do so well during the 7 o'clock hour, chances are you are playing through this game as well. So a lot of good stuff here on the card. Let's clear the bases and also go over what we had on today's card. If we're taking a look from, I'll start with Miggs. excuse me. Value perspective. I like Cincinnati's team total today. Also like the New York Yankees team total. And my best bet and banker, I'm going to grade this one 350 minus 150 at BetMGM, which is listed now. Another large sports book out there for FanDuel minus 122. They're going to get some hits tonight. Indians get the 5 runs. Wall cash in. Jason, hit it.
Yeah, we're on the Diamondbacks, plus 185 in the first 5. That was through William Hill. I'm not sure what it's at now, but again, plus 160 or above, I like it for the Diamondbacks. And then also under 3.5 in the first 5 at minus 115 for the Rockies versus Padres. So 2 interesting little looks here. We got a big underdog and a small little under. So it's already a sweat before the game even begins, but that's how we do when it comes down to baseball betting.
You know how we do it, Kyle. Wrap it up. What do you got here?
So, screw J.A. Happ at home. Let's go White Sox. I got them first 5 plus money minus 0.5. I've also got that team total over 4.5. Our value menu picks, I like that Nerfy in the Dodgers game. A little sprinkle on the Mets team total just because I got a little bit of a feeling here, and it's just making me feel right. And I like the home run prop as well for Tim Anderson. He's dominated Happ 11 of 19 lifetime.
All right, huge card tomorrow. You know we're going to hit that on our Tuesday Major League Baseball show each and every day, Monday through Friday, right here at 2:30 p.m. Eastern on the SBR YouTube channel. Thank you guys for coming to the chat box, bringing that fire. Let's get out here and cash some tickets tonight. I'm Donnie C. Maurice Jason Radowitz for Kyle Purviance. We are sportsbookreview.com, and this was your Monday Major League Baseball show. Good luck on your wagers. To get us a